Hi art family, and welcome to my studio. I'm so glad to have you here today. It's Dena Tollefson, and today's going to be a great one. We're going to be creating color mixes based on color theory from the color wheel. I want to show you how you can mix your own colors, your neutrals, tints, shades, and tones using basic colors, and how you can make your own color harmonies by using the color wheel. So I wanted to just show you, we're going to be working with oil paint here today, and I have just a limited set of colors. We only have 6 colors plus black and white on the palette, and using spoons and palette knives to put texture on the canvas. So I began this canvas, this is just a little 8 by 10, began this in a previous video, so if you haven't watched Pumpkins for Carrie Part 1, be sure to do that, and I'll show you how to create the pumpkins that you see here. And I'm applying the paint, the oil paint now, with palette knives and spoons, and this technique is called Daubism. So in thinking about the color wheel, we know that the color wheel has got it's got the colors, the basic colors, yellow, blue, and red, and then all the colors that you can make from that. So the primary colors are these, just the red, yellow, and the blue. They're the basic colors. And then secondary colors are our orange, green, and violet. So I'm going to be mixing up a primary color, which is yellow, and a secondary color, which is that orange, and then now mixing up a color that's in between. So it's going to be a yellow-orange, and then applying that to the pumpkin. So rather than having to buy multiple colors, you can just start with these basic few colors and mix everything that you need. So putting on the using the spoon, and this technique you see here is called Daubism, and I'm aiming for a mix between a low relief sculpture and a painting and mosaic, and I'm using color and texture in a way to make the painting be more dynamic. So this is the phthalo blue red shade and the spoons, and I want to just show you here with the easel. When I was working, I ended up putting the easel down into a flat position. This is a favorite easel of mine, a Trident, and I'm going to show you how I can mix these neutrals here. So yellow and purple are opposites on the color wheel, and in painting the little black-eyed Susan, first putting on just the primary color, which is this yellow, and then the color that you see for the center of the flower, that is actually a neutral that is made by mixing purple and yellow together. So on the wheel, we have our cool colors and we have our warm colors, and the core color I have here is orange, and I'd like the highlight to be the lighter colors, but trying to go for a full expressive painting, I'm choosing to use purples as the shadow color of the pumpkin. So let me show you how I'm doing that here. Taking some of the red and the purple, we're going to mix up a new color, a red violet, that can be placed onto the canvas to indicate the shadow area of the pumpkin. So let's get that on with the spoon. There we go. And so when you're working on your own paintings and you're thinking about what kind of impact you want to have, if you put color opposites next to each other, or the complement of a color, for example, if you put yellow next to purple, or red next to green, or blue next to orange, it's going to really feel like it's popping. Put a blue cloth down for the still life, and I chose blue on purpose because I wanted the blue to pop against the orange. And now working on the reflected light on the pumpkin, just using the cad red light for that, or cad red hue. And I'll show you this mix for neutrals. If you take any opposites on the wheel, so if you were to mix orange and blue together, or red and green, or purple and yellow, you're going to get a completely neutral color, and that's what we have here. Now if you mix yellow and purple, you actually get a yellow ochre. So you can do tints, tones, and shades with your color wheel. And so you can get a tint if you take a color and add white. You can get a tone if you add gray, and you can get a shade if you add black. So here I can show you. I'm going to mix up just a wonderful natural green, which is a shade of yellow plus black creates a shade, and that's a neutral green that we're going to make. So let me show you how I do this here. I'm going to take some yellow and make a shade by adding black. And we can add as little or as much black as we want. The more black we add, of course, the darker it's going to be. But those colors can be used to describe the stem, and then also that same green can be used to describe the black-eyed Susan's leaves and its stem. So I'm applying the darkest version here. And now a tone would be as if you have gray, which is black and white, and a color. So we can make a tone from that mixture by adding some white, because we had yellow plus black, which made a shade. By adding white to it, we can make a tone. And that tone color will work really well with our pumpkins. And one thing that's important to me is when I'm working on my paintings, in order to make them pop and have them be bright and colorful, I want to be sure that I include tints, tones, and shades. So we can make a tint here by adding we can make that pink by creating a tint of white plus the cad red hue. And I like to incorporate neutrals, brights, tints, tones, and shades into every painting that I do, because I feel like it adds more complexity. And now taking the phthalo blue red shade and adding titanium white to it, we're going to make another tint. But the thing about tints is they can look a little chalky, or they can look a little washed out. So what I like to try and do is add additional complexity by putting a neutral in this case this is the yellow ochre. Adding that in to the tint, we can make our own unique color. And so I encourage you to experiment and have fun with all your colors that you're using. It's so neat and fun to see what kind of colors we can create all on our own. So I want to just take a moment and thank you for being here today on my channel. I want to thank you for all the support that you've shown, your likes and your shares and your subscribing to my channel, that type of thing. It really means a lot. So 6 years ago, I left a job as a successful engineer to pursue art full-time, and my motto is bringing joy through art. And you're a part of this, and I really am so glad that you are here today. And this is a lot of fun, you know, painting and talking about art and making art together as a family. Let's make our colors pop. Mix yellow and violet together to make a neutral, or put them side by side and have them scintillate next to one another. It's a lot of fun. So this purple, and speaking of purple, I've on purpose I'm putting purple in my shadows to make that yellow color of the flower really pop out. And this core color, which is the pumpkin, that's this core color that we have here, this orange, just next to yellow, it looks harmonious, but when you put it next to the blue, again, it pops. So thinking about when you're putting your own artwork together and thinking about your color schemes and what you want to do, You can control areas that you want to be more vivid by putting color complements next to one another. You can also make areas or passages of your work more quiet by putting analogous or neutral colors next to one another. Another thing too is if you do need a color wheel or anything like that, any kind of art supplies, I have a Amazon site. I'm going to put the link for that in the description, but you can get the color wheel that I'm using here, as well as all of the supplies that I use in my personal art practice. I have a site out on Amazon where I give recommendations of what to use. So let's mix up some neutrals now. It's super important in your artwork, if you're going to be using bright colors, it's important to also put neutrals in, because neutrals will make your colors really sing. If you think about, for example, why do people wear khaki pants or khaki skirts or gray jackets, gray skirts, gray pants next to bright colors? It's because these neutrals really make the bright colors look great and look as an accent. So I'm covering up, I had a mark I didn't like over there, so I'm just going to cover that up with this neutral color that we mixed by taking the phthalo blue red shade and the cad orange hue together. Let's get a little bit down here. But thinking about having, in this case, we're using, from the color wheel, we're using the cool colors in the shadow area of the pumpkin, and the warm colors, which are the oranges and the reds and the yellow reds, putting those together in there. So this yellow ochre color, I love yellow ochre, and it literally is, you can make your own version of it by mixing yellow and purple, but it's a wonderful neutral. I like to put that pretty much everywhere in my paintings. I like to use it as the underpainting, or to tone the canvas and remove the white. And I try and include that color wherever possible. I think it's a nice color that bridges. It's kind of like a khaki pant. It bridges everything and kind of brings everything together. Get a mark right there. There we go. Alright, so this combination is phthalo blue red shade and the titanium white, and then the yellow ochre, a fair amount of the yellow ochre. And adding additional yellow ochre is going to make the color more and more neutral. So let's get that mixed up and then onto the canvas. There we go, and you can see the difference between the tint that we made, which was just the phthalo blue red shade and the titanium white. By adding in that little bit of yellow ochre, it makes the color more complex, and it makes the color more neutral. Whoops, I got a little I got a little paint on my easel there. I'll wipe that off in a little bit. But see how we can create these nuanced colors or non-colors by mixing all these different colors together. Now, by adding even more yellow ochre to that mix, we can make it go to a more green kind of a color. And it pulls the blue, the yellow ochre, and the white, pulls that all together. Getting all of the tints, the tones, the shades, the neutrals, the brights, trying to get them all together. Well, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. Until next time, it's Dena Tollefson. All my best to you. Bye-bye.